mean, what's your rebuttal for people that say that organic foods are only available to people that can afford it, or the elite class, or something like that?
That's why I'm doing this. That makes me so crazy. That makes me crazier than everything. And I think it's just because the contrarians are jumping on board trying to get attention with that argument is what makes me so crazy, because they're doing more damage to this movement than anybody ever could possibly have done. They're giving more power to the food companies than anyone ever could have given to the food companies just to get a day in the limelight. When I started doing this, we were spending more money than I probably should share buying stuff from PCC, and I didn't even shop at the farmer's market because I thought it was too expensive. PCC is expensive, so I totally get that, and I'm sensitive to it. But when I stopped shopping at places like that, and I stopped buying processed food, I spent probably a quarter on food what I was spending before to eat organic local produce. Not all of it I had grown, but a lot of it was buying meat from the farmer instead of from the farmer's market or from PCC, or buying grain from the farmer and grinding it and making that stuff myself. So that saved more money than anything. And that's something anybody can do. You can live in an apartment and just, you know, it's not the vegetables, although it's great you're supporting local vegetables. It's the stuff you're not buying that's going to make the biggest difference. I'm trying to grow all the food for my family here and for a handful of families that are in the city. The other thing I'm doing, I mentioned before, is these bulk buys. So I'm coordinating that as well. And then I'm blogging about, you know, what to do with stuff. I started a year-long urban farm challenge on my blog, which is Sustainable Eats. And so every month I've tried to break it down, where the first month was soil building, and then the next month was home dairy, I think. And then the next month was gardening. And then last month was foraging. And this month is botanic. Each month there's something fun and new for you to learn. So if it felt too overwhelming before, you can break it down into challenges, and we have prizes that you win at the end of the month. And you can see what other people are doing and learn from other people that are beginners. Because I think a lot of times people get overwhelmed when they'll see somebody who is really good at doing something or has done everything, and they think, oh, I could never be like that, or it's just too much. But if you see somebody who's doing just a little tiny thing and it was easy and they're excited about it, I think that's more easier for people to latch onto and sort of naturally glom together with people who are at the same level of knowledge and inspiration. So there's that, and then this garden I'm also looking at as an inspirational learning garden for people who are in the city. So everything I've done before has been for people in the city, and then I ended up leaving the city before my book about how to do this in the city came out, which panicked my publisher. So what I'm trying to do here is have smaller areas of the garden that people could implement in their own gardens in the city, just on a little smaller scale than what I've done. So I'm calling this Dancing Goat Gardens, my project here, because I look at these all like different gardens. We walked through, there's a hugelkultur blueberry garden, and then there's a children's garden, and there's a duck garden, and a chicken garden, and a turkey garden, and orchards, and then this big keyhole garden. And then my last patch of grass behind me eventually is going to be a perennial vegetable garden in part to full shade. So that's going to be my biggest challenge yet, to show people how much food you can grow in part to full shade conditions that's perennial, so you don't have to plant it every year, that you're just harvesting when you need it. And that, I think, is going to be something that is going to be really beneficial for people who are really busy, or aging baby boomers who aren't physically able to garden as much anymore. So that's my last garden will be that. I know.
Not really, probably.
What do you think? What do you think?